That's fine.
No,
You know, she's a narrow generation, which means if I don't.
I'd like to welcome you to the October 3rd City Council meeting with roll call. Lana.
Johnson,
Here.
Redwig,
Here.
McDaniel,
Here.
Murdoch. Here. Walker.
Here.
Thank you, council. Everyone's present.
If you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first on our agenda was a presentation to Kevin Honemichael and Steve Winslow, and they're not going to be here tonight, so we'll table that for the next meeting. First up is a consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the council meeting on September 5th. The pay ordinances, we have two of them. And the ordinance delegating authority to the code enforcement officer. Any discussion on that?
Mayor, if I could just note on the delegation of code violation authority to the code officer, did talk to Walter, and what he will do when he issues a violation, he'll send a file directly to you guys, so you kind of have an idea of what's going on. Okay.
So we'll be notified due to manual review.
Yep.
Ronnie, you okay with that? You're probably going to be reading the mail.
I don't care.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any more discussion about it? All right, roll call.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Redwig. Murdoch.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next up, call to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business that's not listed on the agenda. Comments or discussion in the call to public may or may not be acted upon by the council. 4-minute time limit, and stand or raise your hand to be recognized. Do you have anybody who wants to speak on the call to public?
Good evening. I'm going to give everyone an update on the economic development activity. Last week we sent out a report which was some of the various projects, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have specifically, but to give you an update on what's been going on with some of the companies. We've met as part of activities from the economic development summit earlier this year. We've been meeting with the various businesses to learn what expansion opportunities are out there for the businesses, and what other types of issues that could perceive to be a hurdle for them to expand. And one of the companies that we've been meeting with actually disclosed during this meeting that they have a potential for expansion space. Right now, they're currently maxed out in their space, but their corporate entity hasn't given them the go-ahead to expand at this point, but they're currently bringing in some new equipment, and so they have a need for a 20,000 square foot building. Obviously, that's going to be a little difficult for us to find, but we're going to be working with them to find out what their time frame is, which could ultimately turn into an expansion opportunity as the company starts assembling the new products and the new lines that they have. So we've been working with them. They're going to give us their capital investment numbers, the number of employees that they think could be happening from that. We have a phase 1 and a phase 2 project with them. First being to try to find a location that will temporarily house some of the equipment that they're going to be acquiring in the meantime. And then the second is the aspect of getting them ready, providing them with a number of the state work training grants that are out there, so that when the call comes, they can go ahead and present a plan to immediately proceed, as opposed to losing a project to one of their other companies throughout the United States. So this is going to be important for us to collect this information and find out, it'll be a good test run as to what their needs are and what the community is going to be able to offer for them. Not only incentives, but as far as workforce development. That's another thing that we've been finding with the businesses, that they're all having workforce development issues. Some of them, for instance, Rare has said that 2 weeks ago, on Friday, they hired 10 new employees. My first question to them was, how many of those were local? And they reported that 7 out of those 10 that they hired to start that week were from DeSoto. And that wasn't the problem, but they're finding that on their entry-level positions, when they're coming in, they said some of them are just wanting to be let go. They're not really looking for a long-term job. So that's something that we're going to be working with Johnson County Community College, the Jobs Incubator Program, and some other opportunities at the state level to help get these folks trained so that there's an opportunity for them to stay and then further get promoted. But there's just some of the things that we can be doing to help them promote what jobs that they have open that they're currently not doing, that will continue to provide those assistance. The mayor and I had met with Super 8 to find out how things are going with their business. They also had talked about workforce development, that it was hard for them to get employees in and keep them for a certain period of time. So there are some other things that we can do for them to help, and establishing that program, I think, is going to be really important for not only McDonald's and Casey's, who are still trying to hire folks and keep them there. So that's definitely going to be a focal point as we work forward. The other project that I know that you have in your reports, but we were approached by a residential services provider who's getting ready to receive some funding from the state of Kansas. And that's actually going to open up about 150 opportunities for folks with disabilities to actually get out of their home for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And this company currently functions out of their home in town, but if they were able to receive this grant, they're definitely going to need to find a bigger space because some of those folks will be from the area. So we've been working with them, and we actually, one of the operators of the business, we actually found them a rental unit for one of the residents so that they can actually live closer to the day service provider. So, and that's another thing, you know, they need something more of a home-based setting, but large enough that they can function out of. So we're going to be working with them to try to find them some spaces and get their funding through the state. That's definitely going to ramp that up. We have been seeing that the larger companies, when they have exportation of goods, they will come to the chamber, and the chamber endorses what's called a certificate of origin. So any of the products that are produced in DeSoto must have our endorsement and our seal so that when they get exported out of the country, they can be accepted. And we've been seeing, I would say the past couple of months, one of our larger businesses, just this week, I've endorsed 8 certificate of origins, and they've been going to Egypt and Venezuela, and this really has kind of ramped up over the past couple of months. So that's a good sign for our businesses in town that their exportation is something that's increasing. So we'll keep a close contact with that business to try to help them when they're ready to expand. And then the other thing is the Kansas City Area Development Council has their annual luncheon on Friday, November the 8th. It's at 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock, and as we have with past years, the EDP pays for that table of 10, and then we split that table with the city. So there's 5 seats open for anyone from the city council or city staff that would like to go for that event. Just let me know. And I think I sent Pat an email earlier today so you'll have that information. Anyone have any questions for me?
Thanks, Aaron. Anybody else on the call of public? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. Discussion regarding the EDC and the city council collaboration for working with a consultant. This was carryover from the last meeting, and Rick, we had some discussion at the EDC board and at the EDC membership meeting about the future of the EDC, and where do we go from here as far as EDC involvement, whether you add to our EDC as far as money and help, or what we need to really get to a point we can all agree upon what we really expect the EDC, out of the EDC and the direction we need to go. And so we've had some discussion. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I'd ask for this to be put on a upcoming meeting because for the reasons you stated, I want to get an understanding of what all of our thoughts are on regarding support for EDC, what we think our need in this community is for an economic development, and what we think that should look like. And I don't think that that's probably a discussion we need to have tonight, and I don't think it's maybe a discussion that we would have alone. I think that if we want to do it, I think we should involve the leadership of the EDC and have a joint workshop, and then let's be honest, let's be forthright, and let's say what we mean and what we're thinking. And so I would propose that we would find a common time when we could all, as two bodies, get together and have a workshop, and then come away from that meeting with the clear direction of what we want our EDC to look like in DeSoto.
Yeah, we had the discussion at the EDC, and they were more than willing to sit down with the council, and was actually anxious to have to sit down with the council and that really come to some kind of compromise or condition of what we want to do with the EDC, our expectations and desires. Ron and myself, a few weeks ago, we went to the league seminar, that training. I guess these books are for us to hand out. They gave us, the league furnished us with these books, but what was really impressive, I don't want to steal your thunder because I thought you said you were going to talk about it, but the city manager for Leavenworth, his part of the presentation was by examples. He didn't have a little training part. It was all done by different examples. And he had what they do over there, they have a team. It's under the team concept. And he pretty much leads the EDC himself. And then he has a support with the mayor. I think he has a city clerk. He said you need to have a financial person. And so he has all this group. And they look at everything that comes at them, or even just ideas about the future of the city. They give updates. He gives weekly updates to the council of what is coming and going. He had a 3-step process, which I thought was really simple, and it was straightforward. He said there was 3 steps to everything they looked at. The first step was be creative. The second step was make sure it's legal, and the third step was make sure it's cost effective. It makes money for the city. So if you have those 3 things in place, and then the creative part is anything that comes at you, you look at it for what its purpose is, and it could be as far as the city buying property or getting involved in it in multitude of ways. He said there was no particular way they handled anything. Anything that come at them, they were open to look at it at any type of level. Of course, the legality of it had to be for sure forthcoming. And then the last part, he said if it doesn't in the long run or at some point, for sure in 10 years, but he said they like to look at a 5-year schedule. But he says if it's not beneficial to the city, then if you were just going to break even, then there wasn't any point to it, is his philosophy. But anyway, that set aside, the guy was just such a dynamic guy, and he was out there. I know they're a bigger city and everything, but it was the fact that they had an EDC that was heading out there and actively trying to do something, trying to make things better and bring stuff into the city. And I think that we're at that point in time that yeah, we've had some stuff come at us. It's nice to have Casey's come in and that kind of stuff, and we've had our little problems along the way with the sign ordinance and that stuff. But I think we're at a point in time that DeSoto could benefit greatly by coming together and putting a team. And I attempted with Dave Anderson and trying to craft something, and that was just an attempt. But I think if we all sit down and decide how we want to do it, and it doesn't necessarily have to include Dave or a consultant. We have Sarah on board, and we just need to sit down and figure out how active we want to be in that. If we sit back and wait, yeah, eventually things will come our way. But I think there's a lot of opportunities out there for the city to step up. We got Lakeview Heights deal that's kind of, who knows whether something's happening or not. I think, I talked to Ron about it, I think we need to be aggressive on that. We've got a project out there that is kind of struggling along. I don't know if anything's ever going to happen if we don't just at some level or some direction get involved in it and decide, do we want something better than what we got, and be aggressive at it. So without spending a lot of time trying to figure all that out, I think having a joint meeting with the EDC would be a good step so that we can all decide what we can all agree on. So, it's not a good thing to sit here and at a meeting and not be able to come to a conclusion or a direction. I felt bad about the last time that I thought we was kind of going to come together on it, and it didn't work out well. And I think it was just because of the lack of communication or feelings about your thoughts on the direction of the EDC. So I think a joint meeting would be a great way to resolve that. Any
Changed
thoughts?
my mind. This meeting changed my mind about EDC. We're not going at it right. We're out in left field, and we're just staying out there. This guy was so dynamic, and he explained what's going on. And this team that he talked about included this guy and that guy and that guy and one of us, maybe him, and our attorney and EDC, somebody from the EDC, a group that could talk constructively about what plans we need to have. He makes plans, and then they stay by it. He gets his council involved. The mayor, he just kind of calls him once in a while and tells him what he's doing. But the thing of it is the way they go about it is they have everybody that's involved, and they make a decision if it's good for the city. Just so many things that he talked about. I'd love for this council to get to listen to that guy talk, because he's so good, and he basically does the same thing Pat does. I could see when he was talking that this guy right here needs to be doing what he's doing. I know he's got a lot of work, but he needs to be involved in that type of thing. And it just that Leavenworth is really going. He's got hotels coming there. He's got investors coming there building places for apartments and for businesses, and he's revitalized downtown. Matter of fact, he had to get out of there because they were having a barbecue thing there that he had pushed downtown, and their businesses downtown are vibrant. It's really changed. I don't know if you go to Leavenworth very much, but it's a different place. Now let's say one more thing and I'll shut up. What he did was he got the council to spend $7 million for that ground up there across from Fort Leavenworth. He tore down all them buildings, made it, put it back to dirt. Then he got 3 of the major hotel chains and had them come and bid to build 185 hotel room there. And they did, and it's coming. So, just, I feel different about economic development now in a different way. And the meeting would be good.
You know, one of the things that, I wasn't there, unfortunately. I was out riding my bike instead, but, well, maybe fortunately, I don't know. It takes a person, though. And, Leavenworth has somebody, and this guy is dynamic of what he's doing, what he's moving forth. And if we had one of him here, maybe we would be doing the same thing, too. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to be negative, okay? I'm just making statements. But, it does take a team. And we have 3 people that are sitting right here that are on the EDC. So, if we're not getting this the way it's supposed to be, then, yeah, we need to sit and get a direction, and we're not going to have, the guy from Leavenworth in every town. We have great people on our economic development. Sarah's a great staff member, but there's, limits to what everyone can do, and part of that is just who they are and what their job is. So, it's one of those things where we have to put into it what we can put into it. And, for 2.5 years sitting on council here, it didn't seem until pretty recently that it was really our big job, my big job, to be EDC. And I realize now that that probably is part of our job, and so what you're saying is right. But don't overlook the fact that we had a team. We have people that are on the EDC from our council, and if we don't feel we're getting enough information or we're not going the right direction, that we have to take a little bit of that blame and try to, get that thing improved and get it moving on too. So, the meeting is a great idea, and I think we can come to terms on a lot of things, but, it's also one of those things that just because we say we want to do it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen, because sometimes it takes that right person and that right personality to be able to go forth and, put that extra bang into what we have going on, so.
So, is everybody okay with the idea of having a joint meeting and see if we can sit down and work out some issues and maybe make some improvements on our economic development?
I've met with them twice.
You'd be okay with a joint meeting?
Well, I'll meet with them third time, sure.
Okay.
I mean, we have had these meetings.
Yeah.
The most dynamic speaker in both those meetings doesn't have a business in DeSoto.
Well, I understand. But I still think myself.
I want economic development,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we've dumped a ton of money into it with little or no results, and without question, there needs to be a better plan. But
Well,
at what cost?
That's
What
some of the
cost?
reasons why I think we need to sit down and talk about some of this.
They better put a very good presentation together.
I don't want a presentation from them. I want
Well, we've had
us
two.
to say.
We've sat down, I have sat down twice with them, Rick. And
But
all
I
I've
don't
heard
care
is
what
the
we've
same
done.
damn
What
thing
I
both
wanna
times.
hear is
And
what-
most of the time, they didn't say a damn thing.
And the problem that we had at the other meeting, we didn't say a hell of a lot either. I mean, we
They're
sat.
supposed to present us with the reason
Well,
why we should give them money to develop the site.
Well, that's not my intent for this meeting. This meeting, I want us to decide as a group and with that group what we want EDC to be in DeSoto. And not, I don't care what happened in the past. The past is the past. It doesn't matter to what we want
I
to do
hate
in the
wasted
future.
meetings.
Okay?
If you have a wasted meeting, why have it? I'll go to a meeting.
I
I
don't.
want to have some succinct definition on the future.
Well,
And with a
He's wanting
plan,
to do.
not a meeting that you just sit down, have a meeting, and nothing happens. I've been in corporate meetings where the very last thing, the guy in the head of the meeting says, this has got to happen. And the next time you turn around, nothing happened. So he says, why didn't this happen? We had a meeting. Well, we had a meeting. Wasted a lot of time.
Well, I think there's some issues, and that for one, the expectations, and I brought it up at the board meeting and the membership meeting about Sarah's job, and we share her with the chamber, and that is the way it's set up. I have some questions about if she's not doing enough or doing what we need from her, then maybe we need to be split off. And maybe the chamber needs to hire their own event planner, and she just does EDC for us. Now, the chamber will speak to that too, because they want to maintain her. But so that was with the idea of bringing Dave on to kind of fill some of the gap. But one way or another, I think there's a feeling that there's shortcomings about the money we're spending and what we're getting out of the thing. And I think we just sit down and talk about that and try to figure out a way to resolve that issue where we all feel good about the money we're spending. Yeah, we spend good money, but are we directing it wisely or not? I think we ought to just sit down and talk about it. So,
I agree. Let's have a meeting. Let's have another meeting.
okay.
And I was going to add, without getting into the EDC's business, I know that's kind of a standalone thing. I don't know if the financial, I really don't have any, I would love for Dave to assist with the EDC. And if there's funding there, I don't know what any of the financial numbers are for the EDC. Do they have enough money in their budget to bring on a consultant? Why is the city having to fund that? I don't know what all their operations are and expense memberships and corporate sponsors and different things. I don't know if reviewing any of that or has a place in this meeting to try to figure out how much are they short. I don't know. I don't know anything about the financial numbers.
They went over that. We got into that at the last meeting, the membership meeting, and actually went to a chalkboard and started putting down the figures and where the money's coming from. And I'd say there's probably half of us there didn't understand where the money is coming and going to, that didn't realize that they were putting that much money in, or we are, and what. So that'd be a big part of the meeting. So we get a total understanding of what's going on. And
I think that might be part of the helpful part too, to understand that too, if that information might be available for discussion. I'm just trying to think of things that might be valuable. I know, Rick, what do you think? Because I know you're kind of got a thought on some of the agenda. I know the direction is one thing, and funding and financing is another. And I don't even know if it matters.
I'm not opposed to having a funding discussion. I just want to figure out what the hell we want it to do. And then we'll figure out what it ought to cost, or, what we ought to pay for it. And maybe, because I don't know that we all agree on what it should be doing, what EDC should look like in DeSoto. So,
well, it was mentioned to me, Carol Lehman had mentioned to me that maybe we ought to consider a facilitator to run the meeting and to help us get through the issues and moderate the whole thing, so that so we don't get into personalities and arguments, and I think that's really I'm not a professional moderator, and so whether I run the meeting, or we have Pat run the meeting, or we have Sarah run the meeting, you've got different sides of the issue. If nobody has a problem, I think it'd be helpful for us to just go ahead and hire a moderator, a facilitator, to help us get through that for a couple hours and establish a direction. And she could probably bring out the issues and get them out on the table. Is there any thought? Does anybody have a problem with that?
If I hire a moderator, what do you mean?
Well, we have an outside person, the facilitator, to
walk us.
through.
Oh, Jesus.
That's just putting too much on the table for you?
I think we should just have a meeting.
But we can do that.
Benefit of the
That's what it says here.
facilitator,
We're gonna have a
Randy,
meeting.
is we didn't have one in your last meetings when we didn't get anything, according to you, we didn't get anything done. So it's just a way to, you know, to help keep things going along. I mean, it's not unusual
I would
to
say,
do that.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
Yeah, that's right, you do, all the time.
I definitely think Lori's point is valuable about a moderator, that they might have an agenda and can help bring out some things. I didn't particularly like the comment in the note that maybe because the meeting might be confrontational or something. That was one about planning commission. I feel like we could probably work this out. I don't think we need a moderator because we're going to get in an argument, sake. I think they'd be more valuable to help lead something and get some value out of it. Not that we need a referee to keep us from fighting over the table.
Yeah,
We don't want those out here.
yeah, I didn't see that same purpose. I just thought that we didn't get there in the past of trying to come to some kind of conclusion, and if you get someone that professionally does that could maybe lead us through the whole thing and really get down to what we really need to get down to without all the extra stuff. We need someone to kind of help direct us on, so we can come to a conclusion, I think.
Mr. DeSoto, you can't get along? Come on, man.
Well,
It's not about not getting along, Randy, that's the point. It's about having a direction to go. It's about somebody else is going to be in there making sure that each person gets their time to talk, and that the discussion needs to be, and that there's a follow-up plan in action. It's things that they're trained to do to keep this going, just like Mike's trained to do his job, and Pat's trained to do his, and I'm trained to do mine. They train, that's what they're there for, is to help keep a meeting so that you actually have an end result to it, instead of just walking away saying, okay, that was a waste of 2 hours. That's all it is about.
I don't care what we do.
Not about it.
Whatever we do needs to be good for DeSoto and the citizens and the taxpayers in this town. That's what we need to be doing, and we're not doing that, and we're not giving them that. So, yes, we need that. Maybe we need to have some taxpayers involved, because it's their money that we're spending. And I'm sorry, but I run for this council because people ask me to, and I represent the people in this town. And whenever I suggest something, it's for the people, because somebody's come to me. So whatever we do, I don't care what. I think the meeting's probably good. But we need to be thinking about the people of DeSoto, not us. End of my conversation.
well, I just feel that we really need to get to a conclusion on economic development. We're struggling along, and there's a lot of unhappiness about what we're getting, or not getting, and how we're doing things. And me and Sarah continue to work, and we visit with different ones and trying to do stuff. But as far as the general direction, and like I said, back to establishing a team or come up with a plan, I think the time is now to be more aggressive. You know, we're letting things like Lakeview Heights. As far as I'm concerned, we're just kind of letting that thing slide along, and we need to be out there. Does anybody want it to be remodeled and repainted? And we got a guy that's looking at doing that. That's not what we want.
Ask the residents that live around her. They don't want that.
So we just need to, I think we just.
I was
time
glad
is
to see
now
that you and Sarah went to see the man that owns the hotel, because, you know, we talk about this guest transient tax, and we spend it all year long, and he's the guy that makes it. It comes out of his business. We need to be helping him first.
Yeah, and Sarah had some good ideas, and offered up some help from the chamber for information into the rooms and stuff like that. So it was a good meeting. So we're still okay with having a joint meeting. How about a facilitator? Oh, what, Darrell, go ahead.
I recognize this before, but do you have any idea what this facilitator what their fee might be?
Yes, it's it was $160 an hour, so we're looking at spending $320, so,
I feel strong enough about the benefits of having a facilitator to conduct the meeting and move it towards a conclusion that's equitable to everyone and progress forward for the city. But I personally will write a check for that amount.
oh, well, thank you, Darrell. I think that's necessary. I think when you're really talking about our budget and the money that's spent, and the $320 is money well spent. It'd come back, and if we can resolve some of these issues, that money will be back without even thinking about it,
So
so.
I think it will all be worth it, and that's why I made that offer.
Okay, appreciate that.
So when do we want to have this meeting?
Well,
Do you want to have it, well, what I would suggest is, we'll do the doodle thing, and we'll reach out with the dates and ask everybody to respond, and then we'll pick a date that seems to suit most people. I would assume going into it, not everybody's going to be available on any one day. So bring those results back to the EDC board and decide when you want to do it.
try to get the majority, yeah.
And then also check with your moderator's schedule, make sure she's on.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
that.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
Do we think weekend dates would be, like Saturday mornings would be
I
out?
think that's the time we need to do it.
That's why I would hope we'd maybe throw some Saturdays
All
in
you
there.
guys gotta work. Not me.
We
But I
always
think
got to work
Saturday-
Saturday morning, I don't know how that.
I
Will
think
it only
Saturdays,
cost you another $360 for me to have a pharmacist, but then it'd be all right.
okay, well, let's do the
We can
doodle,
work it out.
do the doodle thing and then, proceed with that.
Okay.
Do we, if we're gonna hire a facilitator, we really need a motion for that.
I would just consensus.
Consensus.
would be- yeah.
I say yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. I think it will be, real beneficial to all of us. And Sarah will set up the doodle deal and let's try to get a date that the majority of everybody can be there, so. All right. Thank you very much. I really hope that, we can move forward today. I think it's really beneficial. So, I mean, I'm not gonna try to compare it to Leavenworth, but, yeah, it will really help. Okay, moving on. Consideration regarding the process for discussion with the Friends of the Call concerning a joint venture to utilize the scale house at Riverfest Park. Go ahead.
It's the consensus of the city council and the Friends of the Call Board of Directors that, they'd like to sit down and have a meeting to talk about the details going beyond just the concept of using the scale house as a canoe rental facility and ancillary uses associated with that. So I guess the first step is to figure out, okay, who will those folks be from the city to sit down to enter into that dialogue with them to see if there is enough common ground and if the details can be worked out to satisfactory conclusion that could be brought back both to this body and to the board of directors of the Friends of the Call to take it to the next level. So what I'm asking the council is to, first of all, I've outlined a basic process and approach. And if you're comfortable with that, then the action I would be asking from the council is to select representatives from the city to sit down and talk to Friends of the Call.
I think that'd be the next step. See what is beneficial for the city and what we can get going down there. They'll be sitting there in time and if we can get something going and it serves some purpose for the city, I think that'd be good. So, Do we have a volunteer? Do we, you wanna, you had a suggestion of myself, and I'd be happy to do that, and a council representative, and a park board representative, and staff.
And I think staff, we wouldn't have staff necessarily be part of the committee, but we would be ad hoc members, and we'd bring staff in as would be appropriate.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about rejuvenating the building or
Yeah.
deep checks.
Yeah,
and
the code
something like
stuff,
that.
the youth stuff, and Jay,
Does that sound all right?
Yeah, I think it's a great plan.
Yeah, okay. Do I have a volunteer, Lori? Well, you got this thing started, and so I just thought maybe you want us to stay with it.
That's fine.
Everybody all right with that? Okay.
Okay.
Myself and Lori, and then,
That moderator.
yeah, we don't need a moderator. Okay, yeah, go ahead and proceed with setting up.
okay, I'll reach out to Friends of the Cause, and we'll
Do a doodle on that.
Do a noodle doodle.
We can
That's
discuss
the
it. That's what
new
we're
word.
doing.
I didn't know what a
Do
doodle
another
was
doodle.
a month ago.
Now you're doodling son of a gun, are you?
Doodle and everything.
Last time I tried to doodle, my doodle didn't.
I'll talk to you later, Randy.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move forward on that. All right, item 3, discussion about the holiday decoration purchases for the downtown district.
Okay, the council asked at the last meeting to put this on the agenda to discuss, and had asked me about availability of money from the transient guest tax to do it. And I provided you with a response to that question about the transient guest tax. And bottom line, very comfortable with the request that the rabble-rouser out there has generated, that, yeah, we could handle it through the transient guest tax if the council is interested in considering it.
I just put a thumbs up.
Thumbs up? I think it's great. We need to go forward with decorations. I think it's a great idea, and this would be just the first step, and we'll continue every year, building back on that, because the old stuff is in the trash, and now we don't have enough new stuff. So,
I'm all for the new decorations. I'm just not sure transient guest tax money is the place that it should be not in. I just understand find a place in our regular budget for this. And, I'm a little confused on that. Transient guest tax, I don't see how that fits into the spending of transient guest tax for sites. It doesn't go for me. I don't see how it goes together.
Brings
So-
tourists out to look at those lights.
That's not, that's not right, though.
Well,
It's a stretch, but,
Good.
and I'm all for the
There are a lot of
lights,
stretches.
but I think that we need to figure out, where else we can come up with this, not
well, I think that was just brought up
budgeted for the people.
because it wasn't a budgeted item, but if we can, if you don't want to be taken from that fund, then we just ask Pat if he's got someplace he's got money hidden that we can.
Well, we could also go to the electric utility fund and just buy all the lights for the whole thing, the 20,000 or whatever it is, and be done with it.
And, yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, it's,
But go back to that guest transit tax, we don't help that guy down or rent them rooms. There's not being that anyway.
and if we have to for this year, I'd be okay with that, and, but find a place in the
Going
budget for
forward.
future years, just because
Yeah.
we're at the end of this year, and I get that. And I want the lights, okay, but I just don't think that that's the place it should be coming from.
I don't see any reason why.
I did put in the proposal that I gave Pat that after this year, for the city to put it in the budget, to be budgeted, I think. I hope I did.
Of course, 2014 is already budgeted also, but, maybe we, we were able to come up with 160,000 to fix a road down there. Surely we can come up with 4,000 to
Yeah.
buy some streetlights.
So, do we have money that we could, other than the transit guest fund?
We'll find a line item in the general fund to do it. I think that'd be the best place to do it.
Yeah.
Let's use transient guest tax for this purchase and then next year something else.
Or can you do it this year?
We could do it this year.
Okay. So the consensus is if we can take it out of the general fund or line item.
All it will do is simply reduce it will reduce the end of the year cash surplus. And $4,000 isn't going to break the bank, but, you know, if we did major purchases and expenditures to reduce that end of the year cash surplus, down the road, that could cause some problems. But $4,000, that's, I don't think that'll be a problem.
The downtown is a fairly small area, and now that we've got this, we did purchase that piece of equipment. You know, they've always been using an outside contractor to hang those lights.
That's 2014 budget, it hasn't been done yet.
Okay, it hasn't been, okay. With the Lexington Avenue, like, what is the cost to install and take down? Like, how much is that costing taxpayers? I just want to make sure we're all clear on the full cost of this effort. Is there a cost? I mean,
There would be a cost, yeah. We haven't factored that in to the cost. And there may be also some costs associated with the lights along Lexington Avenue if we don't have the ability to plug them in. And we might have to, you know, have some expense to do that too.
I'm not real concerned about the electric bill. I mean, these things.
No, I'm just talking about the.
Electrical work,
Electability, yeah.
upgrade, yeah, be an electrician.
Running sockets in there.
Right.
I just want to make sure we also have that. What I don't want to do is start down a path, which I think is a great idea, but I also want to make sure that we don't end up biting off more than we can chew, and then we end up incurring additional costs that ends up becoming quite costly. And I know it's for a short period of time, but I just want to make sure we understand all of that impact too. When you start talking about all of these additional years for, I mean, maybe it's not a lot, but just
Well,
Just
we're
make
gonna
sure
get
we
some
know
new,
we're getting-
new lights down here.
downtown is great.
We're gonna get some new lights down here. Maybe when Westar puts them in, maybe they can plumb them for those lights.
Yeah.
Reckon, Mike?
Well, yeah, that's the extra cost Pat was talking about, that will, because some of those lights in that project are going on existing poles, but some of them are gonna be on new poles. And so if we wanna plumb an outlet or install outlets on the new poles, that might be the cost, to get outlets on the old ones.
I thought in the past that we had some sharing, I think Eudor's got their whole truck that we
Yeah,
pulled and
yeah,
city
we can do that.
employee to hang the fixtures up for that. So I thought there was sharing in the past, and I mean, we can look at some of that as opposed to just hiring I don't think we normally go out and hire a contractor to hang those Christmas lights.
Yeah, we do.
We did?
We have.
We have in the past?
Last couple, 3 years,
Really?
tree company does it.
Well, the tree company?
So maybe what we do is just look at the downtown and the why, you know, kind of what's currently budgeted, or what's proposed for immediately. I'm fine budgeting for future years, but let's get a grasp of what that total cost is gonna be before we start spending money and buying these. They start showing up, and we don't have the money to install them and take them down or to hook them up, is all I'm saying. I just wanna make sure we understand the full cost as we get into that.
So what the city could do is what Marge is asking for, just basically do downtown this year.
Yeah, that's what.
And then the council is interested in doing Lexington, but we could bring back what that total cost might be.
Just get a better idea.
Okay.
We start ordering these, start showing up in
Yeah.
the warehouse, and figure out where we're gonna store them and all that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we got space for
That's
that,
good.
and what that
Yeah.
cost will be.
Well, you can go downstairs and look at them. I went down there and looked. They got racks to hang them on, and what we have so far, but, yeah. Okay,
Sound good?
need a motion?
So what are we're spending we want a motion to spend $4,000 on lights this year out of the general fund.
40, total of 4140 or,
Okay, I was looking for the number, and I was just seeing, okay, I move we spend $41.40 more or less to buy holiday lights.
Or if there's a cost difference, if you want to
Then
move that, you proceed with providing the specific.
Okay, yeah, the first year, there we go. That's what my motion is.
I'll second that motion.
We're going to implement, I make a motion, we implement the 2013 plan for holiday light upgrades as presented in the memo.
Yeah, which are 4 6-foot silhouette snowflakes and 2 40-foot star and scrolls.
Could you add with a cost not to exceed $5,000?
Yeah, you can put it not to exceed. That way we don't know exactly what it is.
They'll just come back.
Yeah,
So,
Well, it says
4140.
Cover it.
I'm sure there's not going to be that much overdone.
If there is, we could ask Daryl to write a check.
So are we adding in the
Not to exceed.
not to
You want to or not?
Councilman?
I mean, if it goes much beyond this, I think you better come back and talk to us.
Well, that would put that in place so that you would.
Huh?
Well, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Right.
Okay, well, I need to go back and have this motion, let's restate the motion for the record, please.
Okay, well, I move that we implement the 2013 plan, which is 6 silhouette snowflakes for downtown poles, and 2 40-foot star and scrolls for both wide. Estimated cost to be $4,140. Final budget or cost to be determined when purchased. The 12 6-foot snowflakes.
4 6-foot silhouette snowflakes.
I'm sorry, I'm reading 3 years at once. 4 6-foot silhouette snowflakes, 2 40-foot star and scrolls.
A banner type thing.
I was thinking Noah, no scroll thing.
Well, it's a rebar.
Second.
Lori already seconded it.
You're trying to hurry along, I believe. Okay, you got the motion down?
I do.
Finally.
Your second stand, Council President?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
McDaniel?
Yes.
Murdoch?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you.
And the citizens, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mark.
And,
And Don. And the committee, and everybody involved. I think it's a worthwhile cause. Okay, moving on. Item 4, new business.
Did you need a break?
Need a recess.
3-minute break?
Okay.
5-minute break? I'm take a 5-minute break.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-minute break. Good idea.
There's just one ball.
And they're cleaning it.
She's clean, so closed.
How was your visit? I hope
Hey, no problem.
to see you have.
Yes, we get set up.
I did see you.
well,
We would,
Yeah, it's
you know, it's been
invested.
talked about. Nobody had.
I understood that you.
Tomorrow
I'm
night.
saying hooray.
Late? How late?
That's what.
Now you work.
kid,
Oh, my God.
I just
Pretty much high.
Iowa Naval
We're
Education.
Oh, good.
they took a vacation because we were there.
Oh, that's all right.
I did the cooking, and we got up early with the kids.
I don't remember her maiden name.
You know, we said,
Sandy Cannell.
"Been a great-"
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Kids can go it too.
That's one of, is there another?
But you guys get to go and see them, so you're.
I don't know those.
Okay,
And-
guess maybe I forgot it was Sandy. Wasn't.
We're going back to Christmas.
They'll grow another inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. My grandkid.
I'll start taking
For
over.
a second. That little girl, when she was 2 years old, and it was time for her to have a new coat. And so I just, Daddy, I take my granddaughter and buy her
Patrick, how's your back doing?
any reason why you can't, so.
Not bad. The back doesn't
Check
hurt.
with grandma, and
That
guess
pain
what?
down my
You
leg.
get that coat.
Yeah.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on it?
I'll be out of town that weekend. So I won't be there.
All right, roll call.
Murdock,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yeah.
Thank you, council. Motion carried.
Item 4B, consider request for the Chamber of Cooking on the Call barbecue contest, October 11th. Temporary use permit, noise permit, serial malt use permit.
I'd like to make a motion to approve that, cooking on the call permit with the temporary use permit, noise permit, and the serial malt special use permit.
Can we do all three together?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Walker,
Yes.
Will you be there?
I will not. I'll be out of town that weekend too.
Damn it.
Ludwig,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Johnson. Thank you, council. Motion carried.
All right, item 4C, consider bid for downtown sidewalk repair. All right.
Yes, council. You'll remember we talked about.
Don't look at me.
I was waiting.
Actually, I will make the motion. Let's make a motion, if everyone's okay, to approve the bid of, going in the right direction. I read it and it was good. $28,431 for the downtown sidewalk repair.
And if I could also request a $5,000 contingency on it.
Not to exceed an additional $5,000.
Yeah, didn't you estimate that like 40?
I did have I mean, you had a pretty big spread and then you had those two guys that were kind of outliers, kind of low.
Yeah, we did. There were two that were pretty low. The next highest one though is 33,000. So
Right.
it's not really.
Yeah, the 28 to 33 is not really, yeah.
And then 44, that's not. For
Okay.
a project this small, you're gonna have a variation.
Yeah.
And we allocated, what, 58,000?
57 is what we expected.
And when we talked about that, did we talk about the wall, fixing the wall?
Yeah.
We did?
It was,
Why didn't we fix that Dean Weller steps then?
Dean, those steps are on, those are part of the, if you look here.
They're in the
Okay.
plan.
They're on the
Okay.
plan.
Whatever.
Be repaired.
They are going to get repaired, right? I mean, they were
Yeah.
highlighted in the plan. They did,
It's hard to see.
yeah. I remember seeing them. That's why I was curious, because I know that's the worst concrete up there.
Oh, yeah.
Who made my second?
Oh, I did.
So I guess we had a motion and a second. We're into discussion, so.
I was just curious. It was more curiosity than anything.
How's the bid came in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very.
Yeah, how much these? Good.
Okay,
Yeah, it's showing up.
Thank you. Holiday lights now.
roll call.
Ludwig,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you, council and mayor. Motion carried.
Mayor voted because it's from the electric reserve fund.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, did you note the ordinance number, Lana?
Yes.
Okay.
So I apologize, Patrick, there is an ordinance for that, council, and it would be ordinance number 2342. So councilman, would you amend that Motion.
Include that in my motion.
Read that back to you for the record. Motion by Councilman Johnson to approve ordinance number 2432, approving the bid of $28,431 for the downtown sidewalk repairs with an additional contingency amount not to exceed $5,000.
What's the ordinance number again?
2432.
I heard it. Just like-
No, 2342.
No, I was right the first time, 2342.
2342.
No problem.
I do have something to bring up now that we've done all that.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I second
Okay.
it. I amended,
Okay.
I do want to make sure that your areas are correctly marked. That, however, because what I see on here, at least on the picture, I didn't really catch this before, because I know there's an area in front of the lodge that's in pretty poor condition.
Right.
And I think what's marked on here is in front of the Ross building, which I think is in pretty good shape.
I believe the lodge is right here.
yeah.
It's this little, the lodge door is here. The bid documents have, if you remember those, and actually I might have,
Because I can see it printed on here pretty well, but it doesn't look like the area is quite addressed. And I'm sure you'll work it out with the contract, just make sure they're removing the right sections and they don't leave bad stuff and
oh,
the
sure,
good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Mark them with
Say
paint.
we mark them.
Okay.
Carol
They do
suggested,
that.
based on
Let me see if this will load from this original
she
report
suggested,
that shows these areas, pictures.
oh, we'll just,
Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing.
One thing I'm not a fan of is piecemeal sidewalk repairs where you stop, start, stop, start. And I noticed in front of the corner where the performance glass place is, it kind of stop, start, stop, start. Sometimes you'll find that it's less expensive just to demo it
Well,
all.
and that's what,
Put a do
we tried to include, this is the lodge building.
I wanted to make
This is
sure.
the bad section in front of the lodge. And there's an adjacent section here that we're having to remove and replace.
Yeah.
But in the original report, we separated them by owner to kind of give you an idea of what each owner would have to face if they did it alone. So this, that's kind of outlined in the box here, plus this, that's all one repair item on the project that is basically this whole piece here.
Yeah.
They're two adjacent, we broke them out for those purposes, but they'll replace it all at once.
Okay, well, you just make sure you mark the right spots,
Sure,
that's all.
yeah.
Okay, good enough. Thanks.
Okay, any more discussion? Roll call.
We had a roll call.
We're already done.
We just amended
we-
the
I'm just-
motion, yeah.
Oh,
You're confusing me, man.
Never mind,
Electric reserve.
Okay.
never mind, you got me confused, John.
Mr. Mayor, can I make one more comment?
Sure.
It's already voted on, but this is a north-facing room, and there's going to be a lot of salt on that. And I just want to know that we're doing something to seal those, because if we don't, in 5 years, we're going to have just the same thing we have right now. That salt will eat that concrete up. You cannot. I don't know if it's time for the city to start taking care of those sidewalks, but if you're asking the property owner to take care of that sidewalk and all they do is dump a 50-pound bag of salt out there, that concrete's going in 5 years.
Well, I think that's the
promise you
reason
that.
this is the worst section of concrete.
That's why.
Exactly why.
It's all, yes. Just throwing it out there.
Moving on.
All right.
All right. Item 5, executive session.
Yes, council, I'd like to request a 20-minute executive session under attorney-client privilege. Invite the city administrator.
I move we go to executive session for 20 minutes with city attorney and the city administrator.
Can you hold, Pat,
Sure.
did you have a personnel item too?
yeah. So another 5 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 25.
25 minutes, excuse me, amend that to 25 minutes with the city attorney and city administrator, attorney-client privilege and personnel matters.
I'll second that.
We're going to session at
8:10 to 8:35.
Yes. Roll call? Oh, okay, yeah. that's right.
Aye.
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 All right.
I was gonna look at everyone's eyes.
Anyway, ayes? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Need a motion to return?
I move we return from executive session, only personnel and executive attorney-client matters were discussed, no votes were taken.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're back in session.
Could I make, no,
You may.
I'm okay. Make a motion that the vote would be rescinded that was made regarding EDC at the last held council meeting. What the date was, September 1st?
September 5th, 20.
September 5th, 2013.
Okay, I'm sorry, John, I didn't quite catch what you said.
But I could repeat it.
Just, motion to rescind item 3A that was on the agenda on September 5, 2013 pertaining to EDC and Dave Anderson.
To rescind item 3.
3A.
3A.
Agenda item 3A.
On the September 5th
Yeah.
meeting.
I have a motion by Councilman Fredwig to rescind item 3A that was on the September 5th council meeting.
Vote for, rescind the vote.
Rescind the vote.
Yeah.
The vote on item 3A that was on the September 5th council meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
And roll call.
Discussion?
Oh.
I'm embarrassed by some cowards that I'm going to take this vote. I'm simply embarrassed by the fact that we have some cowards.
Yes, discussion. Roll call.
Walker,
Yes?
Fredwig,
Yes.
Murdoch,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Johnson.
No.
Thank you, council. Motion carried, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Advisory report. Pat?
I had sent you an email prior to the last meeting about Kansas City Area Development Council. They had reached out to the city of DeSoto and advised the city that they are going to be considering the appointment of the board of directors for the upcoming year at their meeting, I believe it's next week. And as part of the makeup of their board of directors, they have two city members from the Missouri side and two city members from the Kansas side, and they reserve one member of those two. They reserve one member from Kansas, one member from Missouri, to be filled by a small community. And they reached out and asked if DeSoto would be interested in appointing a representative to serve as a small city representative from the Kansas side to serve on the board of directors for next year. So I told Bob Marcus that I would raise that question with the council to see if the council was interested in having a member from the city appointed to that board.
didn't we?
Thorns the bone, huh?
Yes. And
I offered, volunteered to serve. I'd be interested in serving on the board in that capacity if that would be the will of the council, the mayor.
yeah, I was okay with that. So, anybody, okay, everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'll reach out to him and let him know. Thank you, Rick. Lakeview Heights, I'll give you an update about Lakeview Heights. I had a call from Joe Dwiggins before I went on vacation and said it was his understanding that Lakeview Heights has a buyer. And he couldn't tell me the details under confidentiality that he was tied to. But it was his understanding that the new owner was not interested in coming in and redeveloping the whole site, which frankly is a little disappointing. The new owner is interested, according to Joe, in coming in and rehabbing 18 units and tearing down 10 units and then making some other enhancements on the property. But after that, Mike received a phone call from what we assumed was the new buyer for Lakeview Heights, and we didn't know. And he wanted to sit down and talk about Lakeview Heights. So Mike met with him last week during my absence to find out what this guy wanted to talk about. And we ascertained that, yeah, he's probably the new buyer from California. And at this point, I guess you could consider, basically, it's an option to buy the property after he does his due diligence. And Mike, you want to just fill in on the details?
Katie and I and Steve met with him last week because we wanted Steve there because I knew he had plans on refurbishing some of the units. And it was basically the story that Pat got from Joe. He had 6 units initially he wanted to spend $10,000 to $20,000 on to refurbish those. Hopefully start getting some rent revenues from those units. Then there was another 10, so for a total of 16 to refurbish in the same manner. Get those units profitable, but then his long-term plan was to tear the remaining units down and rebuild new duplexes on. And he didn't know what those would look like because he's still doing due diligence on the property, but also on the rental market in the area. But he talked about 1,500 square foot rental duplex units. So that's a pretty sizable duplex unit. He said that his 3 to 5 year plan would be to have all the structures torn down and rebuilt with all new duplexes. I think just the impression I got was that was the best thing that could possibly happen, and the worst thing that could possibly happen is, well, one, he'd back out of the deal and it'd be kind of where it is now. But then 2, he'd renovate 6 units. The rental market isn't exactly where he thought it would be. He never does much else with the rest. And we're kind of left with an owner that is less than interested in investment property. So that's really nothing else. He's still in his due diligence phase. He still might not even purchase the property.
So if he pursues acquisition, then that's probably the worst case and the best case scenario about what might happen there. Excuse me. So I just wanted to share that information with you.
Service,
That's what?
multi-service? Multi-service?
What?
An update? They have moved out?
Yeah,
I don't know if everybody was aware of that.
well, sent everybody a copy of
Okay.
the email from
Yeah.
Debbie about their plans. Yeah, they did move out, and what they are going to do is to take a look at what their traffic is over at the new site before they set up formal office hours here to determine what's the best day, how long to be there, and whether to do multiple days. So they didn't want to advertise something and then find out, oops, that's not really the best thing to do. So they wanted to have about a month or so to see what the traffic was like over at the new facility before they proceeded with their commitment to provide office hours here. on a regular basis. And I also talked with, the mayor and I were at a meeting at the county last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, some time ago.
Yeah, sometimes.
And talking about future of the library, and I had a discussion with the county manager, and he was asking me about the multi-service center, how things are going. And I told him what what the plan was from his department head, and he gave me assurances that, yeah, we're not going to abandon DeSoto, we're going to have a presence here, so.
You know, we found another office, a small office, just off the restrooms down there that could easily be it doesn't really need retrofitted so that it can reduce their footprint down there if they just need a single office. So that we'll have that multi-service center area for whatever use we decide to do with that, so. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Patrick?
Don't have anything.
Mike?
Wanted to remind you about the workshop Tuesday, October 8th.
Oh, it is
Start at
Tuesday.
6 on sign regulation.
Tuesday?
It's Tuesday, it's coming Tuesday.
That's good.
What? What did you say? October 8th?
Yes,
Yes.
this coming Tuesday at 6.
It's our meeting, yeah.
Joint Council Planning Commission.
That's what I was looking for, yeah. Oh, you guys
To
have a
discuss
meeting.
sign
Yeah.
regulation. Yeah.
That's the one I do.
Is
I
it?
couldn't do.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Tried.
Okay. That was just a reminder. Pat, you had a suggestion about a facilitator at Tuesday.
Well,
meeting.
you know, talking with the mayor and given the discussion,
We can facilitate just
I
fine.
think we can
without a
facilitate without the
Okay.
facilitator.
Yeah, I don't know if one of us got confused on what we was talking about. But for sure, I think the facilitator is probably more appropriate and needed for our discussion into the EDC.
I think the sign regs focus is
Strictly on regulation.
A little easier to focus.
Right.
I would hope that you'd be able to facilitate that.
Sure. And I will be getting some information out.
Make the new girl facilitate.
There you
That's,
go.
no, she can give her speech. I'll get a reminder and some information out by email and Ron in your box tomorrow.
That's good.
Okay.
Something.
Say it, Mike?
That's it, yeah.
Lana?
I attended the Lexington Trails Middle School Site Council meeting last Monday evening. Since I didn't get an opportunity to bring this up to the council, I did send you all an email about that. The Lexington Trails does these, and it's part of their state funding, part of their community accountability, respect, education, safety thing, and they get state funding for it, and they do all kinds of little surveys through the school, through the city, residents, as well as parents. So my question is there anyone that would like to serve on this committee rather than me?
I think John's gonna have kids probably hitting that school pretty quick, aren't you? They're not already?
When is that? When are you?
He would make one of those meetings.
The fourth Monday of the month during the school year, from 5:30 to about 6:30. It usually lasts an hour, maybe a few minutes over, but Steve Ludwig, the principal there, has an agenda, and he runs a tight ship. He says an hour is an hour, but they don't get their funding if they don't have all of the people participating, so if someone else would like to take that position, I would be happy to relinquish it.
Sounds like volunteer.
John.
How long do we have to respond?
Tonight.
About 10 seconds.
The next meeting isn't until October 28th.
Yeah, let me look at what else is on the agenda for that fourth Monday of the night and make sure I don't have a commitment. Because it does sound interesting.
Yeah. It is very interesting.
You gotta be on time.
That's the reason why I shouldn't be there.
Okay.
And you can let me know that.
Yeah.
And then secondly, the mayor attended the Council of Mayors dinner last evening, and he asked me to provide you with invitation to the Council of Mayors holiday social that they have each year. It
That's
will be
good.
back at the Overland Park
That's
Convention
fun.
Center. And
That's a good deal.
those who plan to attend, let me know your RSVP if you would, please.
There's a, by like November something.
Yes,
Need
there's
it.
a
Sooner the better.
Thank you, Lana.
DJ has already told the mayors that I guess, I didn't get kicked out of that bunch, thankfully.
Yeah.
But she asked the individual mayors if they were open to a good sense of humor, because she has another little skit program thing, and I was fortunate enough not to be one of those.
Not your first year. Wait till next year.
It's
It will come.
very entertaining.
I hope they have the nun back. She was great.
No, not the nun. DJ does different, but
She great.
it will be exciting, I can assure you. Probably funnier than the nun.
We met over at Intermodal, and they made a presentation, and it was a really good meal. That's the good part. They did, DJ did, we talked about the future, I guess it's been some time since DeSoto's hosted the council mayors, and so she's going to put me on the list of maybe out there a while, a year. So something we'll probably have to work on. Yeah. I thought that'd be a great idea. Anything else, Lana?
That's all I have, Mayor, thank you.
Randy, no. Nothing? Okay. Lori?
One thing that I had written down, which was already brought up by Mike, is the planning commission joint meeting that we are having. And like I said at the EDC open meeting that we had the other day, is I think it's important that when we do get together with them, that everyone come with some ideas of what we want changed. You know, we can't just keep blaming the planning commission for things that we don't like if we're not willing to change it. We kind of need to know what we want to have changed. So, you know, not only just our ideas, but maybe, you know, if anyone has talked to some of the businesses that have moved in or those that haven't made it here, so we kind of know what some of the hindrances are. So when we get there, we know what we're working on, you know. Once again, not just what we personally want, but what we think is best for the community. So
I'd asked Mike to make sure that the different ones,
Super 8 Raj,
yeah, for sure,
yeah.
to let them know the date of those type of discussions, because there's still some interest in help with signs.
yeah, we had them there at our last meeting though, and nothing really.
Well, I know it, but it's still,
Things for-
I think it'd be helpful, and for even Casey's or even McDonald's that's been through the process,
Right.
if they want to have some input.
I thought, you know, this first meeting, that we focus on what the process we need to do to implement this, and then some general areas of concern, and be able to express those back and forth, rather than wordsmithing some stuff. You know, I think those are details that are better left to work out, you know, on the staff level, and then bring something for consideration. But we just kind of want to know a direction and some common goals, and establish a process.
Yeah.
So that we're all on the same page.
Okay. Rick,
I don't have anything. I should, but
good.
I
I can come back to you. I do have some Don. Ron?
No, I'm gonna be quiet tonight. I got a list of about 7 things. We've had enough tonight.
Nope. I don't have anything.
And I don't have anything either, so. That being said, entertain a motion.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. We're adjourned.